This little series of moves is designed to give you a small taster of what a beginner's Pilates class would be like. These are only 5 moves and I'm not going through everything that makes Pilates Pilates. I just want to give you an idea of how you would move when you were in a class. And then if you want to come along, you can learn everything else from there. We're going to start with a move called the shoulder bridge. And this move is designed to create flexibility through the spine, but it also creates alignment. It helps with breath control, and it allows us to access our deep abdominal muscles, as well as pull our bottoms in tight. This exercise is so popular, it's used in almost all fitness programming and a lot of physiotherapy programming as well. So we start off with our feet hip width apart, we widen out through our toes, and we make sure we're evenly weighted from the big toe, the little toe, and the heel. We want to have our back in neutral. Now this means that our hips are level and that our back is following the natural curves of the spine. So you'll feel heavier at your shoulders and your hips. You'll have a light touch underneath your lumbar spine. There's going to be a lifting at the back of the neck, but you'll feel as if the back of the neck is slightly lengthened. So you're looking directly up towards the ceiling. You're going to have your hip bone and your pubic bone level, so you don't have the back curved in towards the floor, but neither do you have it arched up from the floor. It's just in this natural, neutral position. I'm going to bring my hands down by my sides, and as I do that, I'm creating some length between my ears and my shoulders here. That helps me just lengthen my head away a little bit more as well. So I'm pulling the fingers down towards the heels slightly here. The shoulder bridge starts with a clench through the buttocks. So we clench the buttocks and we roll that lower back down towards the floor. We keep on rolling here, pushing evenly through the feet as we let each vertebra ripple one by one off the floor. We're raising the hips directly upwards towards the ceiling, so we're keeping the weight even through the feet and through the shoulders here. My arms are lightly touching the floor. I inhale here, and as I exhale, I roll back down again, vertebra by vertebra, trying to let each one touch evenly down towards the floor. And one thing that some people might find they do is push through the heels, so make sure your toes always stay connected to the floor here. Inhale at the bottom of the move, and exhale to roll back around, raising up. Doing this move slowly can help teach you lots of things about your body. First of all, you can see how flexible your spine is. Does it move smoothly through this exercise? You're exhaling to raise. You're going to inhale at the top and you'll exhale to lower. So I inhale here, and as I roll back down again, I'm checking to see if each vertebra can touch its way one by one back towards the floor. Here's another thing that it can tell us. Are we even through the left and right of our body? If we raise up and we stay in the center line of the spine, so the weight stays in the center line of the spine as you raise and lower, all the way up and back down again, you can be pretty sure you're even from left to right. If you find that you almost banana, so you come to one side as you roll up or roll back down onto one side, then you can be pretty sure that there are some misalignments going on in your body. But all you need to do to help gently bring them back to the center point, bring them back to an aligned position, is to keep going, just trying to make it smoother each time. At the very top of this exercise, we're going to get a stretch through the front of the hips as well, and it's nice to take that stretch, letting the knees shoot away from you. Make sure that your feet, your toes, big toe and little toe, stay evenly positioned here, so the knees stay hip width apart as you're raising up. If you find one knee falling in towards the other, that would show that one leg is stronger than the other. So you want to keep them aligned as well. So the shoulder bridge gives us lots of information about how our body works, and that's why it's done so often in Pilates classes. The instructor can see how well you're moving, and you can gain more feedback yourself about how your body is moving. We'll do one more from here and then we'll move on. We exhale to raise. We inhale at the top and we exhale to lower back down again. Now the next move that we're going to do is called the single leg fallout. With the single leg fallout, we're testing the strength through the belly muscles here, and we're testing the flexibility through the hips. I'm going to take my hands out to the side, but that's just so you have a clear visual of what's happening with the hip. As I inhale, I'm going to let one leg fall gently out to the side, and as I exhale, I'm going to pull the inner thigh muscles in tight to return the knee to the center line. As I inhale, I'll let the other leg come out to the side, and as I exhale, I'll pull it back in. Now I'm holding my tummy muscles in tight, and that's helping me keep my hips very stable and steady, so I don't find myself leaning from one side to the other. In fact, my arms are quite relaxed, and there's no increase in weight from arm to arm as the leg comes out to the side and back in again. You can see I'm not taking the leg very far. What I don't want is to tilt down towards the side. I want to be able to keep this knee in place all the time. So if you picture yourself balancing a jelly bean on one knee, as the other leg comes out to the side, you can get a pretty good idea of the flexibility in your hips without letting the body come with it. Now I often say that Pilates is just holding one thing steady while something else wobbles around. And at the moment we're holding our hips steady as our legs wobble around. What I love about this move is that it combines so many tenets of the Pilates philosophy. So we have to breathe, we have to do it slowly, we have to be controlled, but we're also using these core muscle groups here to hold the hips steady. We're using the muscle groups in the inner thigh to return the leg to the center. That's helping us engage our pelvic floor at the same time too. Whether you know it or not, it'll be engaging to return that leg to the center. I love how this move helps us increase the flexibility through these key areas at the hips. And I love how even if you've been doing Pilates for years, you can feel the muscles engaging and holding you in place as this leg comes out to the side and back. So there's really something in it for everybody here. I'm going to do one more to each side. Inhale to the center. Inhale to the side, and exhale to the center. Okay, so the next move that we're going to do is an arm raise. I'm going to bring my hands down by my side again. Our back is still in neutral here, so we've got the pubic bone and hip bones level. And this time I want to think about the rib cage positioning here, not just where the rib cage sits in relation to the hips at the front, but also where the rib cage sits in relation to the back here. So I have this little gap in my lumbar spine and my lower back here, and I want to make sure that that doesn't change in this move. I'm going to just check that my head is lengthened and extended. Inhale here, and as I exhale, I'm going to take one arm up and over the top of the head. I'm going to inhale to lower it back down again. I'm going to change on the other side. Exhale to raise, and inhale to lower. Now underneath my feet right now, I have quite a light weight. I'm not pushing down through them. I'm holding my tummy muscles in tight here. And that's helping me keep my rib cage in place. So I want to make sure the rib cage stays still all the way through this move. If you're tight through the shoulders, you might find that the hand can't quite touch above touch the floor above your head. And what you might find if you try to do this is that the back arches. So that's what you would see, the back arching up rather than you taking the hand up. And what we're looking for here is to see how much flexibility we have in the shoulder sockets, which we'll never find out if we arch the back in order to try and create that lift. So as you raise the hand up, be very careful. It's the hand that's raising and the shoulder that's stretching, and that you're not arching the back to achieve that move. So you see, if I do this, the rib cage flares up, the hip bones are now above the pubic bone, the pelvis has tilted. So what we want to do is make sure that as the arm raises up, that back stays nice and still. And that's going to require these tummy muscles to draw in tight here as that arm raises. That's going to mean that the same part of the rib cage is always touching down towards the mat, and the rib cage itself won't rise up towards the ceiling. So we'll do one more on each side. And we can relax off from here. I'm going to come onto the front now and do a prone move where we're raising the leg up. I'm going to turn myself around. And lie down onto my tummy here. We want to find this same length through the spine in this position. So rather than letting the bottom just stick out and let the pubic bone raise up, we're going to make sure that we keep the rib cage and the hips and the pubic bone in alignment here. We draw the shoulders down low into the back, just so you can see the shoulder position there. So the shoulder blades are down low into the back here, the head resting on the hands, and we're keeping that torso level. We inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to raise one leg from the floor, keeping the leg nice and straight without changing the weight through any other part of the body. So I'm holding my tummy muscles in really tightly here to make sure that I don't end up just pressing the whole belly down in towards the floor. If I didn't have the tummy held in tight, this is what would happen. You'd see the back just dropping in towards the floor, and there would be no control through the torso. So this is correct. And this is correct. And if it all goes horribly wrong and I don't hold the tummy in tight, this is what happens. Everything just hunches down in towards the floor. So we keep this stomach engagement in place all the way through. I like to imagine that we do this move on a lie low, on a calm sea. And as you raise the leg up, you have to make sure you don't offset the weight at any other part of the lie low. So even when the leg is resting down on the floor, it's not heavy down onto the floor. The body is still very much active here. We'll do one more to each side. And exhale. And I want to finish off with a move that again is done in lots of different exercise classes just because it feels so good. It's called a side roll. We come and lie onto our back again, and we extend the arms out to either side here. We draw the shoulders back down away from the ears, and we make sure that our back is in neutral again. So we think of our rib cage, our hip and pubic bone positions there. With the arms outstretched, I'm going to draw the shoulders so that they're heavy down on towards the floor, and I want to keep them heavy onto the floor so I can feel them touching the floor. I can feel my arms and my fingers touching the floor evenly here. This time I'm going to bring my feet and my knees together. So with the other moves on the back, the feet and knees were hip width apart, but for this one I want them to be together. I'm touching the big toes and the heels together. The knees are fixed in place. As we come into our side roll, we're going to let both knees roll towards one side, but the shoulders and the arms are going to stay in position. Because I have the toes and the knees fixed in together, the topmost foot will lift entirely from the floor. And I'm going to take it back to the centre line. Now I want to control the return as much as I can, so I'm going to inhale to the side, and I'm going to exhale as I press the hips back down to the centre. I like to think of this move as if I had a Velcro strip across my buttocks there, and as I raise the Velcro strip off the floor, it tears off in a straight line, and as I lay them back down on the floor, that Velcro strip comes back in a straight line again. The reason that I like to do it that way is because it means that we're keeping our back in its neutral position and we're avoiding hip hitching. If we were to arch our back or hitch our hips with this move, we would find that that Velcro strip turns into a frowny face. Rather than being a straight line, it frowns. So I'm going to show you here. We would arch the back and then we would come back to the centre and arch the back again. And you can see that the knees and the hips change position. They don't stay in that straight line. So I'm looking for that straight line through this side roll. Inhale to the side and exhale to the centre. Now because I have my arms and shoulders fixed in place on the floor, I'm not pushing the knees all the way down towards the floor, because to do that I'd have to lift the shoulders from the floor. So this gives me a really good idea of the flexibility that I have through the waistline. And that's telling me about the flexibility of the rest of my spine as well. Because the spine is made up of so many tiny bones, each one giving you a small degree of flexibility. If you're moving the hips and the knees, you're going to be working much further up the back all the way to the shoulder blades, and we can finish that move by looking away from the direction of the knees, just so that we're getting that rotation through the whole spine. So that's what we're going to do now. We're still keeping the shoulders in place on the floor, but as we turn the head from side to side, we're completing that full rotation through the spine. Now there's lots about Pilates that I haven't talked about today, especially the breath. We haven't gone into the breath in any great detail at all, or the exact tummy muscles that you should feel working during these moves. But I hope that this has given you a basic idea of the kinds of movements and exercises that you might find yourself doing in a Pilates class. There are plenty of ways to join the class, even online at the moment, so make sure you find something that works for you. Thank you. Bye.